Welcome back to the Garza Gaming Channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss the 11.3 update that's going live this Tuesday, right? Now, I'm telling you right now, this is a gigantic update. It's very, very big, and I'm going to try going through it as quick as possible, but there's a lot of very important information that you're going to need to know, both in items and god changes, right? Now, this is going to be a very long video, or longer than normal, so I'm going to break it down to two categories, right? I'm going to have your item changes and your god changes, and I'm going to put timestamps in the description of this video where you can jump to each category if you don't have time to watch this entire video. But I'm telling you, you need to understand both the changes in the items and the changes in the gods, because there's some very big significant changes that's probably going to change the way you play various different gods, right? So we got a lot to cover, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's get straight into the items. Now, keep in mind that these changes go into effect March 19th, this upcoming Tuesday, right? So in Venomous Executioner, they kind of revamped the way this item or this glyph works, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to actually get 4 stacks instead of that, the one hit and getting all the stuff that you used to get, right? Now you're just going to pretty much stack like the other version of this item. So you're going to get up to 4 stacks, and each stack is going to give you 10% anti-heal per stack and 12.5% anti-shield per stack. So every time you stack the anti-shield, it makes the enemy's shield less effective, right? It makes it smaller and smaller. So that's kind of interesting. Now, Mannequin's Scepter and Mannequin's Mace now always heals when killing a jungle monster, regardless if you have the burn effect on them or not. I really don't use that. I don't see too many people using that in arena, but there you go. So the Wind Shard, to decrease the cooldown from 120 to 90. To decrease the cooldown on Version Shard, the same, 120 to 90. Okay, so here we go with Soul Eater. So Soul Eater, they increase the physical power from 25 to 30, which is really cool, and increase the physical power on when it evolves from 15 to 20. So they pretty much give you 5 more magic item power on this item, which is always cool, right? Now, this is one that kind of sucks. For Book of Thought, they decrease the magical power that you get, starting out with this item before, stacking anything, from 70 to 60. So they took away 10 flat magic item power from this item, which kind of sucks, man. I'm telling you, this item is starting to get to that teeter-totter point where it's not even worth getting anymore. We're not there just yet. I mean, it's still a very powerful item, especially for a Kukulkan type build, right? But I'm telling you, they're starting to encroach to that point. Now, for the Spear Desolation, now at level 2, as you're building this up, they're going to add a little bit more penetration as you're working toward this item. So at level 2, you're going to get 5 pen, where you used to not get any pin at all, right? And once it fully evolves, you're going to get 10 more attack or magic item power. It's going to go from 70 to 80, so that's really, really awesome. Divine Ruin, they also buffed this one. They gave you 5 more magic item power on this one, which is also very awesome. Now, Cursed Orb, right? So Cursed Orb is the level 2 of Doom Orb, and you're also going to get 5 penetration flat pin, right? Now, the weird thing about this item, they did something I had never seen them do before that I can remember, right? They actually converted, they used to get percentage pin with this item, right? I think it was, I can't remember what it was, like 10 or 15% flat pin. I think it might have been 10%. I can't remember. But anyway, they reverted percentage pin to flat pin. So you're now going to be getting flat pin with this item. So when it revolves into Doom Orb, you're going to get 5 more magic item power. And now okay, it was 10. Yeah. So they removed the 10 percentage pin and converted to flat pin. Now, this is pretty significant, right? Because this is going to allow you to do more damage early game. As we know, flat pin early game does a lot more damage than percentage pin, because percentage pin obviously is based on the percentage of defenses that can penetrate. So for tanks, late game, which has, a lot more higher numbers in the way of defenses, 10% of, 600 is 60 flat pin equivalent, right? So this is going to be very interesting to see how people use it early game. Now, Rada Tahuti, on this one, they increase the attack power by 5, which is cool. Karl's Coin, they increase this one by 10. Now, this one is also a very interesting one because the fact that I really didn't like using this item, even though I like the added movement speed that you got, and of course the 20% penetration is godly, right? But just the attack, the magic item power was always just a little too slow for my taste. So by them giving like 10 more magic item power, this is definitely going to make this one very interesting to use in various different builds, right? Same thing with Soul Gem, man. Soul Gem finally got that little beef, a little bit of a perk that it needed in the way of magic item power. Now, I do use this item periodically on certain builds. In fact, I was just testing this not too long ago on a Cuckoo build, and it worked fine. But adding that extra 10 magic item power is going to be awesome for this one. Spear of the Mangus, man. They added 10 more attack power or magic item power to this one. And this is huge, man, because I really used to enjoy using this one when the percentage, the passive, right? When you had more percentage damage on this one. But I stopped using it for the simple fact that 5% added damage to this item was just too low. And I lost too much, whereas I can use other different items that just benefited me more. But by them going from 75 magic item power to 85 magic item power, or magic power, I should say, might make this one worth using. So I'm going to test this one in future builds to see how it works for us, right? So the demonic grip, increase the magic power on this one also by 10, which is awesome. Your Freya builds, right? And then this Phoenix Bauble. Now this is interesting. They actually removed the protection and healing debuff that you got by using this item. As you know, this item, moves your seed or your cooldown reduction threshold from 40 to 50%. But it kind of sucked because when you use that, it made you more vulnerable. I believe it allowed you to take 10% more damage if you use this item and heal for, I think it was like 10% less. So now they took away that debuff on you. So now if you use this item, you're going to get, the regular magic item power that it has, but it's also going to give you that added bonus of being able to move your level cap from cooldown reduction from 40% to 50%. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this one because this one might be beneficial for those builds like your Nox builds, right? So that's going to be very interesting. Okay, so now we're moving into gods. Now there are some significant changes to various different gods in this update. So it's important that you understand what they are and how it's going to affect your god if you main any of these. Because I'm telling you, some of these changes are going to be changes that's probably going to either improve or hurt your current playstyle. Okay, so Chronos. Chronos, his time slot, to decrease the cooldown from 18, 17, 16, 15, and 14 to 16, so that they reduced it by 2 seconds early game to 15.5, 15, 14.5, and 14 seconds. So it stays the same late game. So you're going to be able to get time stop a lot quicker when you first start your match. Now, Serket, on this one, her Cobra's Kiss, they decreased the cooldown from 14 seconds to 2 seconds. So they reduced it by 2 seconds, which is huge in Arena, right? Hell, her Hinder, her Cleanse, right? They increase her protection reduction from 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, and 15 to 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. So they increase the protections reduction or the debuff by 10 late game. Okay, Guan Yu, his Conviction, increased the healing from 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. It looks like they just gave you 20 across the board on this one. So you're going to get 20 across the board more healing on this attack, which is, I guess, pretty good. Bacchus, his belly flop, right? So they increase the damage on this one from 90, 130, 70, 210, and 250 to 90, 135, 180, 225, and 270. So you're going to get 20 more damage late game on this one. So that is very significant. 20 damage late game before any type of mitigations is huge, man, especially in Arena. Okay, so here we go. Chiron. This is going to be a game changer for Chiron, right? So now on his Giddy Up, when he charges, Chiron may now also fire his Masterful Shot while charging. So that's huge. And then his Centurious or his ult, right? The firing timing on this, each shot now better matches his animation. That's not really going to be that much of a game changer, to tell you the truth. But to be able to use his, his pretty much his AoE, his set it and forget it type attack while he's charging is going to be very big. So that's going to be really awesome for Chiron. Now, Kali, they marked for death, right? Kali may now move while her passive UI is up. So that's going to be pretty good. Himdalera, his Through the Realm, or pretty much his ult, right? Reduces the time is locked. He is locked out of performing any action on missing this ability, allowing him to act sooner. So if you go to yeet somebody and you miss, you're not just caught up in the animation. It gets you out of there quicker, so you're not a sitting duck. Chiron, his basic attacks, the firing timing now better matches his animation. Ferryman of Souls, max health gain per match increased from 350 to 998. That's a significant boost for Chiron for sure. And his Spectral Surge, the firing timing on this one, the ability now better matches his animation. So as you can see, now that they're pretty much alpha testing Smite 2, it looks like they're getting some of the feedback from Smite 2 or some of the fixes that they learned how to adjust in Smite 2. And it looks like they're implementing to Smite 1 to make Smite 1 a little bit smoother. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but that's what it seems like to me, right? So Sobek, his ult now when you submerge with his ult now, before you used to be able to go and around, but you couldn't go under walls and stuff, or man-made walls like Ymir's wall, right? So now Sobek may pass through player-made walls while this ability is active. So if Odin gets you trapped in his cage, you should be able to escape it when you use your ult. So that is very big for Sobek. Now Poseidon, his whirlpools, the time to act, the time that it activates better matches the freaking FX on this one. I don't know how that's going to affect it for the better or for the worse, but you know, it is what it is. Now this is one that broke my heart, man. I don't know why they're screwing with Kukulkan, but Kukulkan finally got hit with the nerf bat, right? So his basic attacks, obviously, they match better with his animations, blah blah. But this is where it sucks. His whirlwinds got nerfed, right? So the timing to activate, yeah, it matches his freaking FX, right? But they decrease the scaling per tick by 2%. So your whirlwinds are going to be doing 2% less damage. Now, keep in mind, though, they just buffed a bunch of the mage items that we normally would use with Kukulkan, minus the Book of Thoth, right? Which they nerfed by 10 damage. So it's going to... you're gonna do a little less damage with a whirlwind, but because some of the items that you're gonna be using are getting more magic item power, it's gonna be probably a little less than before, or maybe just a little better than before, just not as good as it could have been, right? So we're gonna have to wait and see how this is gonna work on Tuesday to see if you're really gonna feel a difference on this. Now his Cypher, right, or his straight line attack, his one, they increased the cooldown on this one from 7 seconds to 8 seconds. So it's going to come off cooldown 1 second later, which kind of sucks. Okay, so Ymir, his glacial strikes, the camera is now unlocked while he fires this ability. I don't really play Ymir that much, so I don't know if this is going to benefit or hurt him, but you know, to each his own. And his Frost Breath, they did the same thing. Okay, Scotty, her firing timing is now better matches her animation. And then her wolf, right? Her wolf can now take 5 instances of damage from any minion source before it loses any, a health block, right? Except for the big minion. So if it gets hit by the big minion that comes out, then the wolf will still take the same amount of damage per hit, but it's going to take 5 hits from the little minions in order to take away a block from your wolf. Yeah, and this says it does not include jungle bosses. So, okay, Cupid, Love Struck. So Cupid now gains 2 stacks every time they hit a enemy god, not the minions, an enemy god, which is going to be huge, man. So that means if you get on a one-on-one with somebody and you fire, your arrow at them, as long as you hit them, especially if you have high attack speed, you're going to be able to build those stacks a lot faster, allowing you to get a second arrow out on them. So that is huge, man. Very big for Cupid. Cupid has been getting some really needed buffs of late, and I'm glad that he is, to tell you the truth. So Jinwei, her persistent gust, now her ability knocks her up a lot less, or let me say, not as high as the enemy guys. So the enemy guys are still going to get yeeted up in the air, pretty high, but Jinwei is not going to get shot up as high as them. So I guess that's kind of beneficial. Fifnir, when he uses his underhanded tactics, his lockout timer while landing has been reduced. Also, his effects in transition, and this also affects when he's transitioning into that dragon, right? So for Tiamat will always spawn in dragon form or his flying stance, no matter what stance that she died in. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. I don't really play Tiamat that much, but Yeah, that's what it is, right? So Basset. So Basset, her pounce. Basset may now cancel this ability while it is active to put it on cooldown. So you can just right click and cancel out of it. I thought you could already do that before, but I guess not. Okay, so Freya, her irradiate. Freya may now cancel this ability while it's active to put it on cooldown. Again, I thought you could already right click out of this, but I guess you couldn't. And they decreased the cooldown on this one from 11 seconds to 8 seconds. Dude, that is a huge buff for this ability. 11 seconds to 8 seconds in arena is a lifetime. So Hunt Bats, his scared monkey, right? Or sacred monkey. Oh my goodness. Improve the teleport responsiveness. And then the firing of this one, this ability now better matches his animation. Okay, Artemis, her traps, right? Artemis may now spawn traps slightly faster, which for certain play styles, man, you can actually use that as a route now, because if it's going to spawn those traps a lot faster, you can actually run up to somebody, throw a trap at them, and then start, hit your two, and then start, laying into them. So you can almost use it as a, as an Anubis type wrap, or in a Baron type wrap, in conjunction with your combo. So that's huge. I used to try to do that before, but sometimes when you had that, that slight second delay, it allowed people, especially if they're already in motion, to avoid your trap. So this might work for those Artemis players to be even more deadly, right? Zhangqi, his book of demons, the damage and stun timing now better matches the ability's animation. Medusa, acid spray, the firing on this one also matches her animation. Sylvanas, the same thing with his basic attacks, but his nature's grasp also matches his animations. Kernos, his basic attack matches his animation, and so does his freaking AoE. Okay, Aset, aka Isis, right? So basic attacks now they matches her animation, but her wind gust now. Now this is huge for her too, because her wind gust orbs were a little slow. Are we gonna feel the difference in this? I don't know. Only time will tell, right? So her wind gust ability animates and fires approximately 25% faster. So when you hit that wind gust, she's gonna be able to go 25% faster when she's shooting those orbs. And then the projectile speed of this ability is also increased by 5%. So that's pretty big. Now this one's an interesting one for Terra. So her force of nature, right? So you're automatically going to get this ability without even having to put any points into it, but there's a caveat to it, right? So her force of nature, Terra now can access this ability at level 1. This ability deals no damage though, unless you actually put a point into it. So you can actually, I guess, get the charge, but you're not going to be able to do no damage with it unless you actually put a point into it. And this ability has a 20-second cooldown if you don't put any points into it. So you'll be able to use it, but it's going to have a 20-second cooldown, and it's not going to do any damage. The mana cost between ranks is unchanged. Okay, so for Thulu, his Mire. Thulu no longer channels this ability, meaning that the portal pretty much grows on its own. So his AoE, he no longer has to sit there and channel that thing no more. It's pretty much set it and forget it, almost like an Anubis AoE. Dude, this is gigantic for those Thulu players, right? That's one of the things I did not like about Thulu. When he had to sit there and use his AoE, he always just sat there like a sitting duck. So this is going to allow you to be a lot more liquid when playing Thulu. So this is going to be huge, man. This is going to be a game changer for him, at least in arena for sure, right? And then Thulu's cast time has been reduced approximately by 75%. So not only are you going to be more mobile when you cast this, but the cast time is going to be 25% faster. That is a very big game changer for Thulu. So here comes another big game changer, right? So for Agni, his basic attacks, it matches his animation, blah blah. But his Rain of Fire, right? This is when when you sit there and he has to pulse those stuns or those meteor strikes, right? Well, Agni is no longer rooted while he casts this ability. So just like Anubis, when he used to use his one, he used to have to be sitting there, fanning those locusts out, and was a sitting duck. But now can move at 50% speed. They did the same thing with this ability for Agni now. So Agni now, instead of sitting there and having to sit in one space and do those stuns, he can actually move at a 50% reduced speed, which is a heck of a big upgrade 2 Agni for sure, and it's going to make him even more annoying and harder to kill, to tell you the truth. Okay, so Zeus. So for Zeus, the Chain Lightning, they matched his animation, and then his shield throw, right? His Aegis Assault. Zeus now can refire this ability while it is active to put it on cooldown. I could have swore you could right click out of this anyway, but it is what it is. And there's the enemy gods hit by the initial shield damage now gain charges. So you know how before you threw the shield and then you had to throw your lightning bolt to, to ricochet off of it to get orbs on people. Now, as soon as it lands on somebody, they're going to get an orb. When you hit it with lightning, they're going to get an orb. And then, of course, you got your static damage on it. So it's going to allow you to build those orbs a lot faster when using your combos. So that's very big for Zeus. Now, here's some interesting changes to Odin, and not necessarily for the better, right? So his Raven Shout, this ability no longer deals bonus damage if the shield is at full. Instead, always dealing bonus damage if it is active when Odin lands from his lunge. So what this means is if you're just running and you cast your shield on you, right? I don't think it will still explode, but you don't get the bonus damage that you will get. You're only going to get that bonus damage when you do your shield and then you jump in and land on people and then have it explode that way. That's when you're going to get that bonus damage. And his Gungnir's Smite, this ability no longer has a second ruin, which would cause, Odin's spear to, home onto an enemy god. This ability now only pulses twice, not 3-4 times, only twice, which either provides attack speed buff or stun when the spear is thrown. So you're only going to get attack speed buff when it's pulsing, or if you throw it, you're going to stun somebody. That's all you're going to get out of it. The total damage from the pulse has been split among the two. The spear throw now provides minion knockback. So this is interesting. So when you throw that spear at the minions, it's going to knock them back. Now, my question is this going to work for the big minion, right? If this works for the big minion, that's going to be pretty cool. And then the firing timing on the spear throw now better matches his animation. Okay, so here goes another game changer for those Arachne players, right? So now, when you cast Cocoon on somebody, you have to hit them 3 times in order to stun them or to wrap in their cocoon. But it has to be 3, constant hits. You have to do those 3 hits in a row in order to cocoon them. Before, if you hit it once and then you went away, hit somebody else, and then came back and hit again, you had to start all over again. So they changed this, man. So now Arachne no longer has to do 3 consecutive basic attacks to stun anybody or to wrap them, right? So now it just requires 3 successful hits, period. So what that means is if you hit an enemy god twice, and then you have to turn to this enemy god and hit him twice, and then you go back to this one and hit it once, they become wrapped. You go back to this one, hit them once, they become wrapped. Now, how long these abilities or these stacks last on the enemy, I don't know. And I don't know if you hit this god twice and then hit somebody else and put 2 stacks on that, if you come back to this god, if it counts or not. I don't know. The way I'm reading this is you just have to be able to hit 3 gods or a god 3 times, no matter when, and then you get that stun. So this is going to be an interesting one. If this works the way I'm understanding it, dude, it's going to be huge, dude, because you can hit this guy twice, this guy twice, this guy twice, one, and then just stun multiple people if it allows you to do that. And can you stun multiple people? I don't know. Can you wrap 2 people at one time? I guess we'll find out, right? But that's going to be very interesting for Arachne and make her even deadlier, especially in a high attack speed type Arachne build. Okay, so Xing Shang, my favorite guardian of all time, right? His Smoldering Rage. Xing Shang now gains 5 + 1 per level, temporary maximum health per stack. Xing Shang now inherently has uncapped HP 5. Not a big change for him, but anything's better than nothing, right? Shiva, this is ridiculous, dude. His Pillar of Dawn, this most aggravating ability ever if you're playing against a Shiva, right? So his Pillar of Dawn, this first part of this ability functions like a regular dash, allowing Shiva to slide along the walls, but no longer stop short. But here's the big one right here. Shiva now gains damage mitigation while dashing, in addition to when he's inside his pillar. So before, he would only get that damage mitigation when he was already in his pillar form. Now he's going to get it as soon as you activate that attack. Even in the dash, you're going to get the mitigation, and when you're in the pillar form. So that's going to be huge for him. It's going to allow him to mitigate a lot more damage. Athena. So preventive strike. So for this one, hitting an enemy god no longer grants a block stack, right? Instead, it grants you 60% damage mitigation against the next basic attack from an enemy god. Reach also grants a damage mitigation stack when hitting an enemy god once per attack. And then her shield wall, they decrease the slow from 20% to 15%. So that's pretty much all we have for the changes for 11.3. As you can see, there's a lot of changes that are affecting both items and gods, especially if you main any of these gods, right? It's probably going to affect your playstyle with them. Now, some of these gods are some really nice changes, some not so much, right? But anyway, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you're ever looking for some really cool people to play with, man, don't forget about our Discord. We have awesome people from all around the world playing daily in our Discord. I got an invite to our Discord description in any of our videos and our website, GarzaGaming.com. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, your OG on the GC. We'll see you next time.